I mean, it's very targeted for individuals making $50,000 to $60,000 a year, right out of college, don't want a roommate, they don't want to live in their parents' basement, but they want to live, work, and play downtown, but they can't afford to go live at One Light, Two Light, Three Light, etc. Pay $2,000 a month in rent for a one bed.
Zach Mulzer here with Mulzer Development. You're redeveloping the Aladdin Hotel in downtown Kansas City, and you're also under contract to purchase the Holtman building and the lot across the street. You're 24 years old, man.
Yeah.
The Aladdin, when it was built, it was the tallest building in downtown Kansas City.
March 17th. They locked the doors, threw the keys inside, said deuces. Again, when I say that it was a time capsule, it was a time capsule. There was a half-baked cake in the kitchen. 80% of the rooms, the doors were locked, beds made, towels were folded in the tubs, waiting for the next person to come stay there. It was crazy. When we're done, there'll be 863 windows at the Aladdin.
122 apartments and a rooftop bar.
Yes, and about 25,000 square feet of amenity space. So there'll be 2 saunas, 2 gyms.
2 saunas.
Underground tunnel that connects to Barney House Plaza, where our residents will be able to park. The whole fabric of this project is for it to be around for another 100 years. So average unit size is just under 600. Rents will range from $1,100 a month up to $1,800 or so. So we'll have no units that touch $2,000 a month in rent.
No way. Zach Mulzer here with Mulzer Development. You're redeveloping the Aladdin Hotel in downtown Kansas City, and you're also under contract to purchase the Holtman building and the lot across the street. It comes with it, so we'll get into that. But you're 24 years old, man.
Yeah, crazy.
Man, when I was 24, I don't even want to say what I was doing at 24, but
that's what most people say.
How did you even get started in this?
Yeah, crazy, sheer will and determination. So I went to college at Nebraska, studied management and urban planning, had a blast up there. My whole dad's side of the family is from Nebraska, so I joke I was born into the poverty of cheering for Nebraska athletics. When I was a student there, we had the worst combined record ever across the 3 major sports. So that was fun.
No way.
Yeah, we won 9 football games in my 3 years there.
No way.
9. Keep in mind, in the 80s and 90s, Nebraska was winning championships left and right. I mean, we were a powerhouse. Now I seriously witnessed new ways to lose football games every single week. It was insane. Like every week was a different way to lose. Like in the bag, we're going to win, and then blocked extra point, ran back for a 2-point conversion, they win. Like it just insane stuff.
No way.
So went to school at Nebraska, graduated, moved back to Kansas City, started working with the developer, owner, operator, but all of our projects were down in Tulsa and Wichita. So it was really hands-on, throwing the fire and figured it out, just me and 2 brothers. Had a blast down there, learned a lot. They self-managed, self-operated, self-GC'd. So, again, it's everything from the asset management to the building, whole 9 yards. Left in February of 24 to start Mulzer Development. So I was 22 at the time. Put the Aladdin under contract, brought some partners.
All right, slow down.
Okay.
you just dropped so much information there. I feel like we got to unpack some of this.
Yep.
So let's go back to... So you worked for 2 brothers in Tulsa.
Yep.
And they were doing development down there. How do you think that experience really influenced when you came back to Kansas City and the approach that you took with the Aladdin and the development projects you're working on now?
I think that I learned a lot about just how the development stuff works, but you learn more by doing, and like doing it by yourself, and obviously with partners, etc. So that was great. I think the other part I learned is like things that they didn't do that I wanted to do, which is one of the reasons why I left and wanted to start my own firm. Because just everyone has a different approach with development. There's lots of different ways to do it, a lot of different ways to skin the cat. I'm obviously taking a very different approach than most people, and I think it's going to pay off. So
yeah, and we'll talk about that approach here in a little bit. But okay, cool. So then you come back to Kansas City, and how long did you have your eyes on the Aladdin building before you kind of pursued that? Because it was, so the Aladdin, when it was originally built, and I'll let you do the history, but I want to kind of do my best here, right? Because I've done some content on it, and I love what you said also about the best way to learn is by doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like my mantra for life, right? Like
Fact.
when I started this whole media company real estate thing 3 years ago, people looked at me like I was crazy because I was like, I'm going to have a YouTube channel and that's where all our business is going to come from. And I'm going to have agents on my team. We're going to have this massive team. We're going to get all of our business from YouTube and social media. And they were like,
good luck.
Go. Good luck with that. And it's like, then I just started doing it. And like 9 months later, got my first client from YouTube. And then it all just snowballed from there. So it was that I love that. It's like, I feel like it builds not only character but confidence, right?
Correct.
It's like because
and trust.
it's just the best way to learn. Like I've never been able to like sit down and read a bunch of stuff and be like, oh, I'm an expert on this. It's
you
like
can go to school for development. You can read all the books you want, but like, and you can go work for a developer too. But you learn by doing. Of when your back's against the wall, it's like there were so many situations even with the Aladdin where someone would be like, well, how did you figure that out? I go, we got told that we had to do X, Y, and Z. Didn't know how to do X, Y, and Z, so you just figure it out. You kind of have to. You don't really can't just wave the white flag and go, oh, well, don't know how to do that.
Right. So so the Aladdin was, when it was built, it was the tallest building in downtown Kansas City, correct?
Very short stint.
All right, very short stint, but it was really cool Art Deco building.
Yes.
And it was originally a hotel.
Hotel and apartments. Yep.
Hotel and apartments.
Yep.
Cool. Like a hybrid.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
It's called the Aladdin Apartment Hotel.
Why don't they do that anymore?
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way we will, because we'll have Airbnbs there.
Okay.
Or Airbnbs / kind of hotel stuff, because we do want, as time's gone on of us building our social media following, I know we'll get to it, but people are like, well, it's sad that the only time people actually get to go see the building outside of the residents living there is when they go to the bar.
Right.
And so I was like, well, it'd be kind of cool of when you build a social media following, like Johnny Youssef, for example, love Johnny.
Yeah.
He's built a following where people get married at his venue and stay there because they follow him. Right. Or you look at what Chip and Joanna did at Hotel 1928 down in Waco. Waco is not a nice town at all.
Sure.
People go there for staycations. It's booked out 2 years in advance, very high rates, because people just want to go see that experience and to go see what the building's like and, take that all in. So we want to do the same thing where we'll have probably 6 to 8 rooms that are hotel / Airbnb that people can go and take in the Aladdin. Again, people that are just traveling to Kansas City, that just want a place to stay, or people that follow us and are like, I want to come see the project. I want to come stay here, soak in the history. So
yeah. And when it opened, a bunch of like super famous historical figures stayed there.
Mickey Mantle, there's a really cool story about Mickey Mantle there. Mickey Mantle.
You want to share?
Yeah. So Mickey Mantle, if you guys don't know, famous baseball player. So he's up and playing for the Yankees his first year. He gets sent back down to Kansas City. Wasn't playing very well for the Yankees.
No way.
And he stayed in an apartment at the Aladdin. He was getting ready to quit baseball. This story came down, obviously, with any story, Godspeed, you have no idea.
Right.
This got passed down by a couple different people that I've met along the way. Mickey was getting ready to quit baseball. He was like, screw this. Like, I just got sent down back to the minors. What the heck?
I mean, Kansas City.
Yeah. There was, I guess, a conversation. Mickey's dad showed up and met with Mickey and was like, pull your head out of your butt. You're fine. You'll figure it out. Godspeed. A couple months later, Mickey started playing better, got sent back up to the Yankees, and the rest is history. One of the best baseball players of all time. So,
wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy that Mickey almost quit baseball at the Aladdin. So, thank God he didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, Greta Garbo stayed there.
Be a different story
Al
for
Capone,
sure.
Count Basie used to play jazz there in the Zebra Room. So a lot of famous people have been there. Harry Truman, I mean, a lot.
Yeah, so cool. All right, so ton of history. And then fast forward to COVID.
Yep.
It was a Holiday Inn.
Yep.
And it was a very tacky interior Holiday Inn, like
green,
purple.
It was
weird carpet.
We found the old mood board for it.
Oh, no way.
From like '06. And I'll tell you what, it was horrible design. Don't get me wrong, but the mood board and then to actually what they ended up looking like, they nailed it. They nailed it. I mean, it was like, wow, that is exactly what it looked like. So when we're done, we'll frame that mood board and be like, that was interesting.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, like red squiggly carpet. The chairs were literally lime green with like a red dot. It looked like an olive.
Yeah.
Like it was like,
I mean, I saw it before you guys did all the demo, and I mean, it was
just
capsule. Beyond tacky. But okay, so and then the Holiday Inn closed in 2020 because of COVID.
March 17th. They locked the doors, threw the keys inside, said deuces.
March 17th,
2020.
Perfect. So then you're in Tulsa, and
I had been done at this point.
You had been done in Tulsa in 2020?
No, 2020. I was in college still.
You're in college still, so then you go down to Tulsa in 2021 or 22?
Technically 23.
And during that time in Tulsa, did you already pinpoint anything in Kansas City? Or
no, I was working for them. Everything we were doing was down there.
Cool. So then what sparked your interest to come back to Kansas City?
I just wanted, all of our projects, again, we're down in Tulsa. We used to drive down there every week, and it was just, I wanted to build my city. And again, at some point you have to, you either have to get out of the golden handcuffs or, build with them. And I was just like, I'm going to make a bet on myself. So I left without a project, without anything, teed up. And then it was right place, right time with the Aladdin. Most people.
Okay, talk to me about the story.
Yeah,
like right place, right time is great.
Yeah,
but give me the details.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Aladdin, it closed down in 2020. Developers looked at that project for 3+ years, trying to figure out the math. People looked at it with a lot of different numbers in terms of a purchase price, et cetera. Finally got to a point where the ownership had been under contract a couple times, fallen through, and they were just done. They're a larger investment group. It was their only asset in Kansas City. It had obviously been offline for 4 years, so they were just sick of it. They wanted it to get in the right hands, though. So I got connected with the owners through an architect here in Kansas City. He's like, hey, you should look at this building. I was like, okay. Went through it. Most people at the end of their life, the regrets that they have are not things that they wish they didn't do. It's things that they wish they did. And so when I was looking, I was like, I don't know if this is the smartest thing to do, but I feel like I would regret it if I didn't try. So presented an offer to the owner, and I mean, he just liked me. He was an older gentleman, and yeah, put it under contract. So it was wild timing. At the same time, I was getting close with the former city manager, Brian Platt. I knew of some things that were getting ready in the pipeline downtown, specifically with Barney House Plaza. Yeah. So I just thought it was, at the end of the day, when I went out to pitch investors for it, it was, hey, I want to buy this building. We're going to convert it to apartments. I'm going to get tax statement. I'm going to get parking, get all this stuff. If we don't, it's a land bank play. We're buying the building for pennies on the dollar. And we know what's going to go on across the street. We know the state of downtown is going to continue to grow and grow. Worst case scenario, we flip it. I mean, that was a way to mitigate the risk from the investment standpoint. Obviously, we didn't have to do that, thank God.
Right.
Now you have to push me off the building to get me to sell it.
Yeah.
It was.
So my background is residential real estate. So I know very little about how a commercial transaction like this actually transpires. So like for people out there who are interested in something like this, what would be kind of like the play-by-play, right? So you say you got it under contract and then you went and pitched investors. Yeah. So you didn't really have investors lined up to back you until then, or you had a few people?
I had a few. Yeah. So we had a few people. So I reached out to a couple people at first. One of them, we get local plumbing guy, a couple people that I knew that had funds that could help back and also believed in me, and my partners, and said, hey, I think we can buy this building for X. Here's what we want to do with it. Blah, blah, blah. If I'm going to go out and I'm going to go raise the funds. If I can't, then obviously we fall through. It doesn't do it. Godspeed. So we had a little bit up front to put the earnest money down, because you have to have earnest money to put it under contract. Sure. And then we had 45 days to go raise money.
45 days. 45
days. Because again, these guys, the sellers, in order to bridge the gap of a 23-year-old buying this building, they wanted certainty of close. Again, they were done with it. They wanted to know that this was happening. And so part of the offer was, all right, we'll do it, but we'll go quick.
So what did that next 45 days look like?
Met with 200+ people to try to raise $5.5 million. It was nuts. It was crazy.
Wow. And so walk me through this, because I mean, it's like 45 days meeting with 200 people. Again, we need to unpack that a little bit, because it's like, what, are these just people that you're cold calling, or
no, I mean, just relationships we built? I mean, some people, like example, one of our investors is one of my professors in college, so called him up and said, hey, let's meet. I mean, a lot of small business owners, et cetera. A lot of our subcontractors are actually some of our investors as well.
No way.
Which is really cool. People that are working on the project.
Awesome. Yeah, love that.
Again, people that, at the end of the day, there's lots of different investments out there, and you have to pitch the actual investment of it making money, but at the end of the day, also people invest in people. And so all of our investors believed that no matter what, we would give it our all to figure it out, and that we wouldn't take no for an answer. And so we're blessed to have 32 investors on the project.
32 investors out of 200 people that you met.
Yep.
Ish.
Yep.
And at what point in that 45-day process did you get the final investor?
So funny enough, we closed on May 31st. My partners and I were here in Kansas City. We went to bed on May 30th, and we were still $60,000 short to close the next day. But we knew that there was a wire in the stratosphere. If you guys have never seen a wire, it's sketchy as hell.
Yeah, it's sketchy.
So scary. We knew that there was a $100,000 wire somewhere in the stratosphere, and we were like, I think it's midnight. We're just like, okay, well, it's not that we could do. So we went to bed, woke up, it was there. So that was good. Closed the next day.
No way.
Yeah, it was like, nothing else we could do. It's not like we could go call someone and be like, hey, the wire is still in the stratosphere.
So what was that feeling like when you woke up the next day, the wire's there, you signed the papers, you just bought?
It was nuts. We took
a historic building in Kansas City.
We took one day to just kind of soak it in. We sat out on Barney House Plaza at night and just looked up at the building.
So
and we're
cool.
just like, you boys ready? And we're like, all right, let's do this thing. Next day we got to work.
All right. So now you get to work, right?
Yep.
So, and I you've been documenting it pretty well on your social media. What does that look like? I mean, from closing to getting started and breaking ground and, you know, the demo, what was the lag time, I guess? Like, you didn't have crews like ready to jump in right away.
No,
did you?
we didn't start interior demolition of the non-historic items until December. We didn't close on the tax credit and all the financing until March. So once we closed on the building, June 1st, we went through and we had 193 rooms of hotel stuff to get rid of, which, by the way, is not easy when there's one elevator. That one elevator is not very big.
Yeah.
So there were 300 and something mattresses, desks, lamps, chairs. I mean, everything. So getting that out was fun. Keep in mind, it was middle of the summer. There's no air conditioning in the building. Whatever temperature it was outside, add 15 degrees. That's what it was inside. As you witnessed for the wall breaking, same thing is the effect for when it's cold. If it's 20 degrees outside, it's probably 10 degrees inside. It's very well insulated. It's obviously just concrete and brick.
Yeah.
So getting rid of all of that was exhilarating to say the least. We finally got to a point in like October where we knew we could start demolition in like 2 months, and we still had 13 floors to get rid of.
Wow.
And so we were kind of in a pickle. So we called up every single local Kansas City charity, Facebook Marketplace, everyone, and basically just lined Wyandotte Street with 30 box trucks and said, Godspeed, take it. Like, just take it. We had meth heads in there, like fighting over mattresses and things like that. And that was fun.
So, okay. So that kind of triggered when we went up and you gave me the first tour.
Yep.
We walked up to the ballroom
Yep.
and there was a trampoline there.
Yeah, that was nuts. So we were under contract, and this was mid-March, and I'm there with some contractors, like going through to look at everything on a Tuesday evening or something, like 7 p.m. No elevator was working at the time, so we walked up there. And then
16 floors.
Yeah, we go back the next day, and there's a trampoline up there. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. It was like 12 hours later. So I call Mike. Mike was the guy who was the manager of the hotel from 06 until it closed down, and he still helps us out with some things. It's like, hey, Mike, will I have a trampoline by chance? Like, were you here last night? He goes, what do you mean? I was like a trampoline. He goes, no, we don't have a trampoline. I was like, we do now. So evidently someone and a group of people brought up a trampoline, 16 flights of stairs.
Walked it up 16 flights of stairs.
Set it up, and I guess we're just jumping around, etc. I mean, nuts. Like,
Just
I can't
like
get mad about that.
urban air on 16th floor.
And it wasn't like
Aladdin.
a small trampoline. Like, it was a trampoline.
Right, yeah, like a full-size trampoline.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
What other, is there any other stories that kind of stand out like that? I mean, I know that you have a ton of them, right?
Yeah,
but
I mean,
what is like the one story is like, this absolutely nuts?
I mean, the first day we walked through the building, when we had it under contract, there was literally again, when I say that it was a time capsule, it was a time capsule. There was a half-baked cake in the kitchen. Like,
Wow.
Someone was baking a cake, and they were just like, hey, we're closing. All right, done. Like, nuts.
Just pack up, leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally.
Crazy.
80% of the rooms, the doors were locked, beds made, towels were folded in the tubs, soap in the shower, pens waiting for the next person to come stay there. It was crazy.
So, okay. So now I want to get into a little bit about the building, and then we'll move on. But you had mentioned the historic tax credits.
Yeah.
What does that process look like, and what does that mean to you?
It's the only way to make the project feasible.
What are the things that you have to follow in order to meet those?
So every building's different in terms of like what is unique about it, what's historic, et cetera. So it's a 3-part process through the National Park Service and then SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office. So it's 3 parts. Part 1 is the building historically significant? Okay, cool. It is. What is the story about it? Like, why is it significant? What about it is significant? So for the Aladdin, for example, you have marble floors, you have marble columns, you have the original railing. Obviously, the exterior has a beautiful limestone facade, all of that, the ballroom, etc. So that's all outlined in the part 1. Lucky for us, the building was already on the National Register of Historic Places, so that in a way skips that step.
Sure.
Next is your part 2. So you then outline that. Your part 2 application is, here's what we're going to do to the building. You submit all your plans, your architecture drawings, everything, your budgets, renderings, all of it. Here's what we're going to do. They approve or deny, or approve some things, deny others, etc. But it's very, very detailed. So you submit that. That takes 90 days or so. First goes to the state, then goes to the National Park Service. Once you get that approved, you're good, ready to start. So then you can start construction. And then at the end, there's a part 3. They walk through, they make sure that you didn't take anything out that's bad, etc. So with historic tax credits, it's the only way to make a project like that feasible. Basically how it comes in is as cash equity up front. So we bridge those tax credits. So you have, let's call it for number's sake, a $20 million project. Of that $20 million, $15 million or so are what's qualified rehabilitation expenses. So that's things that are permanent to the building. It's like fridges and appliances don't count, but anything that's permanent, anything structural, any architecture fees, flooring, all of that counts as QREs. You get 25% from the state, you get 20% from the Fed. So 45% of that 15 million. So call it what would it be, 6.5 or so million of tax credits. That then you can bridge those, like that money, because technically it's paid out over 5 years. You can take that money up front, inject it into the project, and loan against it. That's the way that the whole project works. So
No way.
Part of our capital stack is about $13 million of tax credits. That's the only way to make the project work.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And obviously, with that, there are things you have to keep. So obviously, like the marble floors, keep them.
And what about the exterior? I mean, pretty much the entire exterior facade.
Entire exterior facade, like obviously stay,
Right.
don't mess with it. You can repair it, you can fix it.
Sure.
They want you to do that. Example, like our windows, we're replacing almost all of the windows. The National Park Service and SHPO, you can replace the windows, that's fine, but they'll tell you exactly what window you're using. Like it is not, you don't get to really choose. So that's like it's not a con, obviously, because you get $13 million tax credits for it, but it is obviously a little bit more of an expensive window. It's not just a regular pane window. It is, hey, you're using this window. It's like, that's a $3,000 window. That sucks. But yeah, obviously you pick your battles.
Sure. And speaking to the windows,
most were covered.
Half were covered, more than half?
Yeah, so when the developers redid it in the 80s, we had the old plans of it, and
when they converted it into a Holiday Inn, or was it
just
predated
another, I mean, it's still obviously a hotel. I don't know what, I think it was called.
At what point it came a Holiday Inn?
Yeah. They, instead of, to make more rooms, they moved the plumbing stacks on the exterior walls. And so the exterior walls, there was a window there, and it would have just been I get why they did it in the sense of it was cheaper to do that, but obviously that's stupid sometimes. It didn't work out very well for them. So they furred out the wall, and like the window and the exterior, they were all obviously there, but on the inside, there was just a wall. So you couldn't see the window.
Wow.
So when we went through and obviously did all the demolition of the non-historic items, which was good because basically it's floor 3 to 15, we could completely wipe clean, which is exactly what we did. Behind those walls were literally just windows, like nothing. They literally been covered for 40 years, like just cool, just vibe in there. Crazy. So yeah, when we're done, there'll be 863 windows at the Aladdin.
Wow, that's cool. So, okay, now walk me through the reason they did that was to create more units.
Yeah.
All right. So then how many rooms were there when you took the building on?
So when we closed on the building, there were 193 hotel rooms. When it was built, there were 225. There was 80 apartments and then 140 rooms. You got to keep in mind though, people were smaller back then.
Right. Furniture was smaller.
Everything was smaller. And so in the rooms, they were just, literally a bed. The size of this and just a bed.
Wow.
And so but still, 225 in that building is crazy to even think about.
Yeah.
Because even as 193, they were tiny. So yeah, 193 rooms when we closed on it, and then obviously completely got rid of everything. When we're done, we'll have all new HVAC, plumbing, electric, fire suppression, windows, walls, elevators.
All the windows will be exposed.
Yeah.
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 And then how many units are going back into
122.
122
apartments. Yeah.
Apartments,
So when people say when you think of like a hotel to apartment conversion, that's not this. This happened to be a hotel that we bought, but it is not a hotel to apartment conversion. It is a former hotel that is a shell now that we are building apartments in. Because when you think of hotel to apartment conversion, I think of like an extended stay that you make into lofts and studios, all that. This is just, it's just not that.
Yeah. So 122 apartments and a rooftop bar.
Yes, and about 25,000 square feet of amenity space. So there'll be 2 saunas, 2 gyms.
2 saunas.
2 saunas.
Whew.
Yep. Hot sauna, infrared sauna, storage lockers for residents. Dog wash, 2 fitness centers. So 1 for the gym bros, 1's for the Pilates princesses.
Nice.
Underground tunnel that connects to Barney House Plaza where our residents will be able to park. Obviously, the park across the street when that gets completed, the ballroom area, co-working pods, study rooms, a mini mart.
What about that basement space that you were asking for opinions on Twitter about? Wasn't that a little basement space where you use chat and AI to like create like somebody did a poker room? Was that space in the Aladdin?
No, that was Holtman.
That's Holtman.
Yes.
Okay. I got ahead of
That is
myself.
like a random garage. That's
Oh,
part
okay,
of the Holtman
cool.
that I just don't know what to do with.
All right. Yeah.
Good problem to have.
So we'll get into that in a minute. So the 122 apartments, are they all one bedroom
One
studios?
beds and studios. So
one beds and studios.
There'll be about, let's think, 75 or so one beds, and then
Okay.
50 or so studios.
And do you have the rent rates?
Yeah. So
now?
units will range from, we'll have a handful of units at about 375 square feet. So very small, micro, efficient units, similar to like what Midland Lofts has.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of units hovering around like 680 square feet or so. So average unit size is just under 600. Rents will range from $1,100 a month up to $1,800 or so. So we'll have no units that touch $2,000 a month in rent.
No way. That's great.
Technically, all of the units are under 80% AMI. We have 10% of our units that are restricted to 60% AMI, which is area median income.
Right.
So in theory, it's what we call naturally affordable. It's still market rate housing, but it is naturally affordable just because of the way that the market says what rents could be or should be.
And how much of it was dictated on you when you were formulating like what these are actually going to rent out for versus what you wanted to rent them out for, if that makes sense? Because
There's no restrictions in a sense.
Right.
I mean, like example, like a 400 square foot studio at the Aladdin, I would love, I mean, people are going to hate me for saying this, but like I'd love to charge $1,600 a month. Like that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It's $4 a square foot though. The market can't support that. No one would pay that.
Yeah.
So like in theory, us charging $1,200 for that unit, but again, just throwing numbers at a wall, that is what the market says that could probably support. So we would charge that. That number though happens to be at 60% AMI because what the government says of a studio at 60% AMI could rent for is like $1,183 or something like that.
Gotcha.
So it's naturally affordable. As Kansas City continues to grow and evolve, obviously rents will continue to go up like everything else. But yeah, the Aladdin's great because it'll always fit that missing middle. It will never be, we will never be competing against one light, two light, three light. But we will also never be, people, when things are good in an economy and things are good and people are making more money, people will move into the Aladdin because they can spend more money.
Right.
When things are bad, people will move into the Aladdin because they're not making as much money. And so it'll always fit that missing middle. I mean, it's very targeted for individuals making $50,000 to $60,000 a year right out of college, don't want a roommate. They're sick of that. They just got done with college, living in a fraternity or sorority. They're like, I'm done. They don't want to live in their parents' basement because they're sick of their parents.
Yeah.
But they want to live, work, and play downtown, but they can't afford to go live at one light, two light, three light, et cetera, pay $2,000 a month in rent for a one bed. So that's why they move into the Aladdin, because they have unmatched amenities. I mean, everyone that lives in the Aladdin was going to have a dog because the park across the street, I mean, it's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally a 3-acre park.
It's going to be a cool, like, I mean, I just see the trajectory that downtown's on, and the Barney Alice Plaza is a huge part of that. Obviously, the South Loop Park, which is hopefully going to happen. And then,
it will.
Yeah, it will. I know. I've been reporting on. We were supposed to break ground. It was first like we're going to have this done before the World Cup. Then we're going to have a section done before the World Cup. Now it's like we're going to break ground before the World Cup.
I was with Mario on Thursday getting drinks and talking all things Kansas City and all that. And so they're
well, thanks for the reassurance, because I really want that project to happen.
It will happen. There's a couple players that need to buck up.
And so, Kansas City gets this like, and I was talking to Jared Campbell. He was on the pod a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Green Line and, the future and pedestrianization and all those things. And you see all of these projects that are stacking up, and some people don't disagree or don't agree with every one of them. But, as somebody that's lived in the Kansas City area for the majority of my life, we've always had that reputation of like, it's not walkable, there's not a lot of public transit, it's hard to get around. And so like projects like this though that attract more residents downtown, and then you have the infrastructure to support it.
Yes,
that to me is what really creates that vibrant downtown. We're not adding any
new parking. Obviously Barney Alice is doing it, but we're not adding any new parking. I think half the people that live in the Aladdin won't even have a car. There's a streetcar right there. There's
so cool.
50,000 employers, jobs all in downtown. Yeah, I mean, if I lived there, I wouldn't have a car.
Yeah.
I hate driving.
I know. Me too. All right. So last thing I want to talk about with the Aladdin is the rooftop bar, because that's going to be open to the public.
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
So do you have a name for it? What's the vision there?
It is going to be really cool.
Cool.
I do have a name for it. I did not talk about it yet.
You're not going to drop it yet?
No,
All right.
we are.
Fair enough.
We want it to be a.
You're just going to slip that to me though before you.
And I'll show you the renderings
business
too.
journal. Yeah. All right.
We
Cool.
want it to be not a surprise. Obviously, everyone knows there's going to be a bar, but we want it to be month out. Hey, here's the bar. We're open in a month. Godspeed. Cool. We'll document obviously all the construction of it and everything because it's going to be. It is something that Kansas City has not seen before. From a architecture and design standpoint, it is unbelievable. I remember when I first sent the plans over to the general contractor in the millwork company, they were like, "Zach, are you okay?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, no one does this anymore. I was like, "What do you mean?" They go, "They just don't. People don't build things like this." I was like, "Yeah, I know. That's why we're doing it. It's going to be really, really, really sweet. Obviously, views of the city, looking west, looking south, about 1,400 square feet. It will be unbelievable.
And this is going to be adjacent to the ballroom. It's not actually part of the ballroom. Correct. Okay. And so does that barrel ceiling that you revealed on your
it extends all the way.
It extends all the way through.
Correct.
So that'll be part of the bar as well.
Correct.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah, it'll be pretty sweet. And then I think the other really cool part is like if corporate events, I think will be a big play for this bar, because if someone wants to rent out the bar and that ballroom, you can have a 300 person event.
Yeah.
Which is huge because again, you could basically have that whole.
So
top
are you keeping
floor.
the ballroom as a ballroom, or is that going to be part of amenity center?
It'll be a resident lounge area in a sense. There'll be a kitchen up there. We'll host community events. We'll have probably a yoga class, things like that. But also, if someone wants to rent out the whole thing, like they can totally do that. I mean, I have a bunch of people that have reached out saying, "Hey, I want to have this here, I want to have that there." A wedding reception potentially. A lot of different options.
Yeah.
Because it'll be, I mean, it's still a very big open space. Even if it is a lounge area where there's couches and pool tables and things like that, I mean, you can very easily move things to accommodate that. So.
Yeah. Well, I absolutely love that you're bringing this building back to life because it's such a cool building.
It's pretty sweet.
I think one of the biggest travesties in Kansas City history is all of the cool architecture that disappeared, when urban the loop renewal was built and urban renewal and surface parking lots and all those things. So
many pictures of Kansas City.
It was just absolutely amazing. I would kill to see what
the main corridor was nuts. Baltimore corridor was awesome. 9th Street was sweet. There's so many pictures.
So I think preserving these buildings is so important for the fabric of what makes Kansas City Kansas City. And I just really appreciate you doing that. And last thing I just want to ask you is you have been quoted as you're not planning on making any money on this project or not any, you're not getting paid. Right. And so kind of walk me through the thoughts, like the mindset with that. Like this is a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
Right?
When you do a project like this and have the community involved and have the investors involved, obviously the people that trusted us with money at a young age, the whole point, in my opinion, on your first few deals is to make them as much money as possible. Obviously, you want to make them money forever, but they trusted me very early on with a lot of money and a lot of trust. I want to make sure that they get their best bang for their buck. And on top of that, we will make money on the Aladdin. Don't get me wrong. Sure. But if that doesn't happen for 5, 7, 10 years, I'm fine with that because we're going to be spending the money up front to make and bring it back exactly how it should be. Too many different developers with different projects, or even just the Aladdin, for example, have cut corners and done things the easy, the cheap way. And there's a reason why we bought it and are doing it the right way. It's because it needed a basis reset. It needed someone to come in and say, wow, that's expensive, but it's going to last another 100 years. And that's the whole point and the whole fabric of this project is for it to be around for another 100 years and to not have to completely... Hopefully, no one has to do exactly what we just did again,
right?
Which is gut it and redo it.
Yeah. Well, and you see that so much, and I think that is the hesitation with a lot of people when it comes to development in general, is because
the project with the Aladdin, though, when I talk about like making money, the Aladdin will be the catapult for Moles development. I tell people Moles development, it doesn't really, in my mind, start until 2027, because once the Aladdin's done, we refinance, investors make money, and we're holding it. Then I can already foresee all people reaching out going, hey, I'd love to partner with you on this project. Hey, can you come to Chanute and come help me with this project? Or, hey, I love this. It'll just open up the doors. Or even from an investor standpoint of when I go to find my next project that's a large adaptive use historic building, when I go to lenders, it's like, here's the building I just got done completing with my partners.
Here are the numbers.
Here are the numbers, everything. That's when the money comes in of other projects, right? So it's not necessarily about the Aladdin fiscally for myself. It is what doors that opens up.
Cool.
And I think it's just real estate is not a get rich quick. It's a long-term wealth tool that if you do it right and do it the right way, you can obviously be very successful.
Amen,
most
brother.
people that are young in my age, they just want to get rich quick, and it's just not what life's about.
Yeah, it's like my stint in the stock market trying to trade options. So,
I can't do it's too many.
No, me neither. Okay, cool. So let's pivot to your next project.
Yeah.
So you're in the middle of this Aladdin redevelopment project. You literally just got everything demoed in there. You put in a concrete pad for your outdoor elevator so you guys can get up and down. And that project is like you're knee deep in that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, still on track to open before the World Cup?
Yes.
Okay, cool. But now you're under contract on another project, the Holtman building, which is in the East Crossroads. So talk to me about this. What drew you into this project?
I looked at the Holtman building about 8 months ago.
Okay.
And the sellers just wanted a different number than what I wanted. And the Aladdin stuff was still going on of getting all the closing. Again, for a project like the Aladdin, the hardest part is getting everything closed in terms of all the tax credits, the lender, all of that stuff. Once that's done and we're under construction, I am on site every day and I'm, inserted myself in all that. But I would argue most developers, they're not. So like, I don't want to say it's on autopilot, but in a sense, I can do as much or as little as I want as it pertains to the construction part. I'm not there putting
swinging a hammer.
I'm not doing that. So as things went on, I was just obviously looking for other projects, and I have a couple others that are in the early on in the hopper. But I went back to the Holtman. I was like, I met with the brokers, like, okay, what number can we actually get this thing for? Like, what's the deal here? A bunch of unfortunate circumstances went on with the ownership group and yada yada. So was able to find a mutually beneficial price and plan that I put together, and so put it under contract. It'll be pretty cool. It's about 10,000 square feet of office / retail on the first floor.
On the ground level.
Yep.
Okay. Are there any tenants in there now?
There's one tenant there now.
Okay.
Yes. One tenant is in there now.
And they'll stay? Ish.
TBD.
TBD. Yeah.
TBD.
Cool.
Don't know.
All right. So it's 10,000 on the ground floor,
Yep.
and then upstairs it's just completely wide open.
Completely wide open. All shell space.
Okay. So what's the vision?
Yep. 8 lofts. I mean, unbelievable lofts. Condo level finishes. Every unit has at least a 12-foot island, for example. The 3 2-bed, 2 baths that are about 2,400 square feet, those have 16-foot islands. If you can imagine a 16-foot island, I mean, it's bigger than this room. I mean, it's huge.
And these will be for rent units. And I have a question about that, because one of the things that I notice, again, being in residential real estate, I sold lofts in the Crossroads, and I absolutely love just the texture of those, the high ceiling. Like if I had to do it all over again, 18, I'm moving downtown into a, exposed brick loft with high ceilings. And I mean, that would be the dream, but now I have way too many kids for something like that. So, my question is like, why do these get converted into for rent units versus
the condo market in Kansas City can't support it?
Okay.
There's not enough people that are willing to pay the premium for it. I mean, you'll look at the plaza, condo units are not selling. And you have probably the coolest apartment / loft or whatever in Kansas City is on top of 929 Walnut. It is the penthouse up there. It is unbelievable, and it's been listed for a year at 1.2 million. You go to somewhere like Chicago, that would be 10 million. I mean, all day. The market just can't support condos.
Do you think at some point Kansas City could get there?
I think we're at least 10 years out.
Yeah. So could you, in 10 years, if the market supports it, turn around and sell those?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
that's
sense.
a backup, not a backup plan. That is, 100%. I mean, in a way, these are condo level finishes, but for rent. The other part of it is like just the cash flow standpoint of building my company and brand and everything. It makes more sense as rentals. Do I think that these things could sell as condos in a heartbeat and I could make money? Yes, 100%.
Right.
But the longevity of the rentals, I think, also play out better. And also add on top the World Cup. I think that will be nice to be able to Airbnb all those units for the World Cup.
Now, this is the second time you mentioned Airbnb in the Aladdin and the Holtman. And the last time I checked, they weren't allowing new Airbnbs, short-term rentals, to be registered in residential areas in Kansas City. Are these because they don't necessarily fall in residential areas, or how are you?
The Aladdin's different. So the Aladdin is we didn't have to change the zoning, change anything. So it's apartments, it's hotel, it's whatever the hell we want it to be. So there's no restrictions on that as it pertains to that project.
Okay.
Holtman, it is a extremely.
So hold on. So when you say Airbnb out units in the Aladdin, is it considered a hotel then? And so you are able to kind of get around those new regulations in Kansas City, or how does that exactly work?
The way the zoning code works, and for like the Aladdin, since we didn't have to change it, it is apartment. It's kind of like what it was when it was first built, apartment hotel.
Yeah.
So TBD on how we structure those quote unquote Airbnbs, because I don't want to use Airbnb or VRBO. Like, it'll be direct through us. Sure. There's different ways around it. Like, it could be we have someone that signs a lease, and in a way it's a sublease. I mean, there's lots of ways. It's not like a lot. There's not going to be a lot there.
Well, and to be fair, like when Kansas City came down with these new regulations 2 years ago, or whatever it is, that banned Airbnbs in residential neighborhoods. As a residential real estate agent, I was on board with it because at the time we had way less inventory than we have now. It didn't make sense to me that it was a sustainable model for somebody to Airbnb out their first starter home, right, and then go buy another home, right. That in a city like Kansas City, where we're not building enough new housing, it's not a sustainable.
Correct. It's bad.
But I think, like with anything, when new legislation and rules and restrictions come out, they went really, swung the pendulum the other way, right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm hearing that, especially with the World Cup and all these things, I'm looking at Airbnb in the short-term rental market, and there just doesn't feel like there's enough supply there to support the amount of people we're going to have come.
They will. Kansas City will have to
roll back in some.
I think they will for the World Cup or summer of 26. I think they will temporarily pause all restrictions.
I think they have to.
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
They just came out with something the other day. I saw
11,000 Airbnbs. And it's like, we don't have 11,000 Airbnbs right now.
People do not realize what 650,000 visitors does. Right. That is insane. People are going to be staying in Wichita, in St. Louis, and then driving to Kansas City to be here every single day because there's not enough room here. I mean, that's what people don't get. Yeah. 650,000 people, that is doubling the population of the downtown loop area, doubling it literally overnight for 40 days. That's insane.
That's insane.
So yeah, I mean, they'll have to. That's why, like the Holtman, I say we're going to be there solely for World Cup. After that, no. I mean, I'm going to move in there. I'm designing my unit.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. All right, so then not only are you going to have these awesome, amazing, much larger spaces for rent lofts here in this building, which, by the way, do you have numbers on those?
No, do not. TBD.
Okay, TBD.
But those are the opposite. Those are the opposite of the Aladdin in the sense of these will be priced of the market. The good news is what is the market? We don't know yet. There's really not a whole lot of product out there. What we're building with this project of, again, the massive kitchens. I mean, it is a entertainer's dream. It is someone who loves to cook.
God, yeah. Basically, First Fridays, you want to be in the crossroads. Yeah, it sounds amazing.
It TBD, but we'll push the needle on terms of rent. It is. We want the people that are moving into the Holtman are people that are making very good money, that are stimulating the economy more so than an average person because they have disposable income. Sure. Could be married, no kids. Could be just be a bachelor. Yeah. Someone that wants to be downtown. Could be a retired couple. But it's people that are going to stimulate the downtown area economy a lot because of their financial well-being. Right. It will not. They'll be nice. Yeah. They'll be pretty cool.
So in terms of scale, 122 units, 8 units.
Yep.
But rooftop hotel or rooftop bar. You're doing another rooftop bar on the Holtman.
Yes.
Do you just love rooftop bars, or like what's they? It's like every building downtown should have a rooftop bar. You get a rooftop bar. Yeah. You get a rooftop bar.
We need more rooftop bars. The Aladdin one's obviously interior, so there's no part of it that's outside.
Sure.
But we need more rooftop bars of places.
We do, man.
When it is outdoor. I mean, we think of them. You have Perch Run.
Yep.
You have John's Big Deck. Green Dirt on Oak has a rooftop, but it's like a cart with a bar.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily count that.
Man, living in Denver for 10 years,
you have the Lowe's
rooftop bars everywhere.
The Lowe's has like that thing.
Mercury Room technically
kind
is
of
on the top floor, but it's not like
yeah, but it's also
bar.
Yeah, but it's also expensive and it's just a different vibe.
Yeah.
There's not enough of them. And so, no, I'm not operating any of these bars. I do not want to get into that business. But finding a good partner for everything in life is the key.
And you found that.
And I found that. And
yeah.
I saw the stat, like 95% of restaurants and bars go bankrupt and fail in the first year. The reason why is because most people are very bad operators. Bad operators, they're bad with the staff, bad with management, and just don't have it figured out. I found the guy that's figured it out. He's got it dialed in, and I'm going to continue to ride that wave for as long as possible with him.
Love that.
So yeah, the rooftop bar will be really cool. It's about 7,000 square feet, 3,000 square feet of decking, beautiful pergola, cool. Awesome. 4,000 square feet inside. The views north of the downtown is awesome. The views south, in my opinion, are even cooler, especially looking down like 18th Street. I can't wait for our first Fridays to be up there. It'll be really, really cool.
Yeah.
TBD on a name, on everything else, but you saw the renderings.
Yeah. So you'll live in one of the units, be a regular at the rooftop bar.
Yeah.
Holtman.
Yeah.
Watching the building go up in the surface parking lot, the lot that came with the Holtman building.
Yep.
So we haven't talked about that. I just want to touch on it. So the plan as of right now is just to turn it into surface parking, right?
TBD.
I read that somewhere.
TBD.
Maybe it was in the business journal. Things have evolved. All right, so they're already moving. What's the vision with that?
Ideally, it would be more apartments.
So really, the Holtman is 2 development projects.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Cool. So there, I think we have different massing studies to fit about 47 apartments on that site, which it'd be pretty dense. It'd be pretty cool there. TBD on timeline of what that looks like. I do have my hands full with other things too.
Yeah,
so
right.
We'll see on what the timeline looks like. The reason why I like the idea of doing it sooner rather than later is because it causes less of havoc for the people that move into the Holtman and the tenants that move into the Holtman. If I, let's say, get done with the Holtman by June of next year, and then I start on the lot across the street, well, then the Holtman has no parking for at least a year, versus if I can start construction on the ground up part across the street by January, and then I'm done next January, then there's only 5 or 6 months of,
street parking, figuring it out. Yeah,
exactly. So I think that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to explore doing it now, as opposed to waiting. Because I hate the idea of having a parking lot there. I mean, that's just not the highest and best use. And I think the timing and everything could work itself out. I mean, if the Royals decide to figure things out and go to Washington Square Park,
which we'll know this week, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I think the value of both the building and the land jump up significantly.
For sure.
If the streetcar study comes back and they decide to pursue going down 18th Street, that also does not suck.
Yeah.
So it's all a timing game, because you don't want, the last thing I want is to be under construction on that while the streetcar's under construction. That would suck.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just not fun.
Cool.
But at the same time, I mean, any businesses that are along Main Street right now have been getting hurt badly because of the construction. So once that opens up, that'll be good. So with that site across the street, whatever we do for retail aspect, we will need to make sure that they are backloaded, in the sense of we will have funds set aside that helps them get through
construction period
is for the streetcar, if and when, to make sure that they don't go belly up. Because the last thing you want is someone that's paying good rent, it's a good tenant, but no one's going there because they can't even get to it.
Right.
You want to make sure that they're taken care of, so they can continue to operate.
Right, good on you, man. Even
that's what the streetcar should have done.
You don't see that thoughtfulness. No. I feel like in this development boom, that is like where the major pushback is coming from. Like I live, we're in Waldo. I live here. 75th and Warnell has been an absolute nightmare for 2 years. Yeah. And the city, Waldo CID did everything they could do to support the businesses here, but you couldn't even walk into the front door of Dodson's for 6 months. I know. And so it's like, luckily they have alley entrance, but still it hurt businesses. I
frequented Bobby Baker's, and I would go there when it was all closed down with the 75th stuff. I would go there just because I knew that they needed more business. Because it was, or Jovito's. Dude, you couldn't even get to it.
God, that place is so good. So good. Okay, cool, man.
But that ties exactly into what I think you're going to go to next about social media.
Yeah.
Most people, the reason why I'm trying to build a big following is not because it's not money, it's not anything else. It is solely to change the narrative of development and developers of when I go to a neighborhood meeting, it's, oh my God, you're Zach. I've seen what you're doing. I know what it's like to work with you. You're not the bad guy, etc. It's putting everyone at ease. That's just one of the things about it that I think is so important. So they can see that I am thoughtful, that I am mindful of like, hey, construction's going to go on here. It's not going to be fun. Like I have people like someone messaged me on Instagram the other day. They're like, so you're the guy that made Wyandotte Street a nightmare to go drive on. I was like, technically it's also Barney Alice, but sure, I will take some of that blame.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, seriously though, like congrats, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Short-term pain for long-term gain. So that was cool. But that's like one of the reasons why we're doing it.
So it's a change in narrative a little bit on the development.
Have you ever seen a movie with developers?
But also not to say that there aren't bad developers out there.
Correct.
Right? We've seen that play out.
100%.
With Lux here in Kansas City. And so, is it just to change the narrative or to show people that there are developers that do it different?
Both. It's to show people that there's developers that do things different. It is to find different partners, different, whether it be subcontractors, investors,
like
different projects. It is putting a light on Kansas City. It's also teaching people and showing people that you can just do things. We need more developers. I mean, I'd love, if one person decides to pursue a career in development because they watch one of my videos, my job is, that's all I can ever ask for.
Cool.
Because we need thousands more developers. I don't have any competition when it comes to development. If someone wants to do a site and I want to do a site, like great, we could be bidding on it at the same time. But if they get it and I don't, I'm not mad. They saw the same value that I did. Godspeed, go build it. Do I think that I have a chance of building something that is more thoughtful and will I care more? Probably. But at the end of the day, we need more housing. And I think that's what the city and everyone needs to understand is if you build more housing, then cost and rent goes down. No one gets that. You do not understand that.
No, every time I do a piece of content on apartment complex, everybody's like, more expensive apartments. And
someone literally commented on your post about the Holtman.
Oh, your luckily is only one.
It's 8 lofts, 8. And someone's like, really, more lofts? I'm like, dude, do not get supply and demand. Like, we need 20,000 more lofts.
And a lot of the lofts downtown are condos that are for sale, not rentable units. And so I think there definitely is, demand for that type of space because, most people don't have access to buy a $300,000 condo in the crossroads. No. And so now you have an opportunity to live there in one that's probably a lot bigger and a lot nicer. So that's awesome. And we were talking about, and I want to nerd out a little bit about social media for a minute because that's kind of my shtick. And I think that's where you and I have really kind of developed this rapport, right? Is because both of us have this wanting to shed light on Kansas City in a positive way, right? Because there's so much bad publicity out there about Kansas City, and for good reason. I mean, some of it is warranted, but at the same time, like there's so many cool things about what makes Kansas City unique, and there's really a culture here that I don't think escapes the bubble of Kansas City, right? Until you hear it all the time. And I think it's becoming more common now because of the airport and the draft and now the World Cup. And, that kind of exposure for our city, it's huge because people come here and they're like, I had no idea that Kansas City was this cool. And I think it took me moving away and living in Denver for 10 years to come back and really appreciate just how unique awesome. Kansas City is and the culture I think is amazing. So, but you talked about before we got started is recently there's been a shift in your social media presence. And you noticed that one video that you did kind of blew up. And so then you just kind of leaned into that. Right. And so talk me through a little bit about like what that's looked like, what your process is.
100%. So I have a full-time marketing PR gal. Her name's Annie Bogart, and I have to give credit to her. I mean, completely, full-heartedly. I joke like I'm literally just the puppet. I'm the guy that talks, and I'm silly. But everything she's done, all of it. She did the wall breaking. She organized all of that, which obviously was insane for the Aladdin. Any sort of events, any other PR things, all the social media she runs. It is so intentional and so thought out and designed. I think that's why it works. Like, it is not just, all right, let's go film, blah, blah, blah. What do you want to film today? It is, we meet on Mondays. She goes, hey, here, we'll go through different video ideas. I'll send some over the weekend, or she'll send some. And it's a mix between educational and funny, right? whether it be whatever we're actually doing in construction, uncovering a window, whatever it may be, or just funny lip sync things. But we'll meet Monday, talk about what we want to do, and then we film on Wednesdays. We film literally for an hour and a half once a week. That's it. It's not long. It is. I'm halfway decent, not having to do a whole lot of like takes, which is good. But I'll go there and she will literally be like, well, on Tuesday night, she'll send me over the 5 videos that we're doing with examples, the script. Obviously, I can't like, I'm not memorizing the script or anything like that.
Sure.
And I'll tweak things, make it my own. But it is like thought out exactly. That's why we can be so efficient. It's literally, we'll in an hour and a half, we'll put together 10, 20 videos. I mean, it's insane. We have content for 3 months now. I mean, it's just wild. So huge props to her for, understanding that. And I think that as time evolved, having more of a targeted approach and a schedule in a sense has helped her and helped me figure things out a lot better. And I think it's paying off now immensely. I mean, it's crazy.
Because you went from how many to you're over 20,000 now?
We had 100 posts and we had about 2,000 followers. And then I think we're at 100, I think it was 110th post or something that went viral. Had like 500,000 views. It was us when we poured the concrete pad for our exterior elevator hoist. And then that just worked. I don't know why, but it worked. And we go, cool, let's keep the same font because it's a good font that is historic, moody, etc. Find the right, obviously there's different hooks you can use, but one is either a funny clip of me at first, but it's leaning into any video of me talking. I'm a 24 developer. My partners and I bought a 16-story tower in the heart of Kansas City. Let's talk about it. Something along those lines. And just running with it. People love historic things. They love uncovering that. They love asking questions, and I respond to all the comments and all the DMs I get. It's been awesome. So I think now we're sitting at 30,000 followers. So we have 4 million impressions over the past 30 days. I think we'll probably hit 100,000 followers by the end of July would be my guess.
No way.
I think
that is a lofty goal.
I think we'll blow up. I seriously think again, what's so unique about it too is that we're just on construction right now. Can you imagine the videos that I'll be able to share and post once it's done? Like go look at what Johnny Yusuf's done. The Melrose Abbey is done now. He got a lot of followers throughout the construction of it, but now that it's done, that unlocks so much more because then you have all the before and afters, and that's what people eat up. And like people can't fathom and understand, and hell, I can't even sometimes, of like what the space is going to look like. Like if we ripped up the first floor area where the old restaurant was at the Aladdin, and we dropped the floors down 6 feet, so the ceilings in there are going to be like 15 feet, which where all those alley doors were. It's going to be crazy. It is. I can't even fathom what that would look like. I obviously knew the plan, but when you're there, it's like, oh my God, it's nuts. It's going to be so cool. So being able to like we have all this B-roll of videos before, and then to be able to copy that and go same video, same placement, everything after, that's when things I think will really, really blow up, which will be a year from now. But continue to grow and go from there forward.
Makes me jealous, man. You have because I have spent the last 2.5 years curating this super hyper local content, but to some degree, it's like that kind of caps my growth, right?
Correct.
Because it's like Kansas City's only so big.
Yeah,
I don't make content.
So many people care about Kansas City.
Only so many kids. But what you're doing is like that. I mean, not only nationally, but like globally.
There's no one else that's doing like showcasing and doing exactly this. There's people that do it for homes. There's people that do it for what Johnny did for the church. But there's no one at least that's younger that is showing everything about the project
that
at this
understands
scale.
Content though, right?
Yes.
Because I think that's what so many developers, they just don't get it.
There's never been, at no point in the history of time have we had access to millions of people within the click of a button, and people that are not leveraging that are silly. For whatever business you're involved in, you're silly to not be doing that.
And that's why we have a media company, but our primary revenue driver is real estate, right? But the media company feeds that, and so it's like this loop. And I
hope that Moles Development gets there sooner rather than later. So I said it's not about the money, but it would be nice because in development you don't make money for years at a time. I mean, you pursue a project, it's under construction, then it goes through lease up, and then you refinance, and then you get money. That's 3 years before you get paid. Well, I would like to eat. I would like to eat, drink Diet Cokes.
But at the same time, in 3 years, you're going to be 27.
Yes,
all right, I was still eating ramen and
having a media aspect or brand partnerships, things like that can hey, Zach, I'm a painter. I want to come work on your project with you. I will do it for X cost because I want you to then put me on your social media and blast out there. That hasn't happened yet, but I know it will.
Right.
And that will be huge. Is again, just a revenue generator to at least put some food on the table and to be able to fund pre-development of projects. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if you're pursuing a project, you're spending $200,000-$300,000 upfront before you even do anything to get a project started. And that could go bye-bye. But you have to have those funds to be able to do so.
Yeah.
And so that I think could be huge over the next year plus.
Well, I love what you're doing, man. I mean, it's been
likewise.
really,
I mean,
it's
you're
been
one
really
of the guys
cool to watch
I
you
followed
grow.
along, and I was like, dude, this guy is crushing it. I mean, you were one of the inspirations for even starting that idea of putting things out there in the content. I'd love to do YouTube. I'd love to. I think people would eat up long form content. I just don't have the time. I mean, there's just no way.
I know.
It's insane.
It's a lot.
Like I just don't. I mean, it'd be awesome. It'd be really cool. I'd love one day when the Aladdin's done, hopefully the next project I can, I'd love to have like an HGTV, like them to do a documentary on not Aladdin, the next one or something like that. That'd be sweet. That'd be awesome. To go through.
Yeah, I think I think you're just getting started, man, because short form content, once you figure it out, it sounds like you've already got a really very efficient model in place. You could do the same for YouTube. It's just it is a little bit of a longer learning curve. You have to have different equipment and different editors and all of these things. But
also I have to have the time. Like as much as the media side of it, I have to then have the time to walk through and like do all that, and then someone's got to edit it. The Reels editing, that's not that hard. I mean, it's not rocket science, especially as AI continues to evolve. Making the short form content is getting a lot easier. Long form, it's still it's more time consuming.
Right, for sure. All right, last few questions.
Hit me.
What are you most excited about in the next 10 years here in Kansas City? That's
a tricky question. I think the South Loop is going to change things. I think that will be unbelievable for our city. I'm excited about Barney Alice. I think that there are a lot of different pockets in the downtown area, whether that be the River Market, West Bottoms, Crossroads, or in the downtown loop that have a lot of potential. I think Kansas City still needs to find its identity as it pertains to jobs and businesses. I am excited for the growth that we are hopefully going to see post World Cup, because in my opinion, the World Cup is not, hey, the World Cup and then it's done, Godspeed.
It's kind of been like a punchline though.
Yeah, but
every developer in the city's been like, we're going to have it done before the World Cup.
Yeah, but my idea is the World Cup is when it gets done, that's the beginning. That is the start of what could be Kansas City growing forward. I'm excited to continue to watch Kansas City grow and be a part of shaping our skyline and the fabric of here, maintaining the history and building curated apartments, retails, et cetera, that people want to live, work, and play in. So there's a lot going on for Kansas City. We just need more people that are willing to invest in the city to help support other people, private developers, local developers, et cetera, to make things happen.
Local developers,
yes.
I'd love to see more local developers in Kansas City, and I love what you said. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are looking past the World Cup right now.
No,
and so
it's hard to look past it.
Right, it's hard. It's the biggest single national event that's
$650 million economic impact for Kansas City.
It's insane, and so it's hard to see past that. But I love what you said about I think that's just the beginning for Kansas City. I don't think many people think that way.
We need to capitalize on that.
Yeah, love that. Cool. What is your favorite building in Kansas City?
That would be the Ozark National Life building on 9th and Baltimore.
Ooh.
It is right now it is currently the Catholic desiccate or whatever. It is.
Okay.
If you obviously have seen the building. It's got the big ass eagle in the front.
Yeah.
The inside is unbelievable.
Wow.
Go inside sometime. It's like breaking into Fort Knox, so good luck. But if you get inside, it is insane. I mean, you can't even fathom it. The Aladdin's awesome, don't get me wrong, but oh my, it's like the marble columns in there that are all hand carved, the ceiling. I mean, it's just crazy. It is no expense. And the coolest part is it has a twin up in Omaha. Literally exact twin.
Oh, no way.
Yep, copy paste twin. They are identical, completely identical. Huh. So that would be that's the coolest building. Close second is probably the Church of Scientology building.
Yeah.
I just wish it was not the Church of Scientology.
I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad you did. All right, cool. What's the most overrated design trend right now in multifamily?
White cabinets.
White cabinets.
That's and also the word.
I would have said LVP floor.
Yes and no. I mean, it's like the Aladdin will have LVP4 in the units and then mosaic tile in the bathrooms. But the reason, we can't, there's restrictions. Again, with historic tax credits, we cannot go back with anything that looks like wood. We're not allowed to, because at no point in the building's history was there ever wood in there for the floors.
No
So that
way.
is a rule that SHPO has.
Okay.
Again, obviously depends on what, every building's different. But yeah, we can't go back with that. So our options are limited. It is you could go carpet. Well, who the hell's putting carpet in all of the apartment? Like all of it. That's insane. It's not a hotel. You could go like a concrete look LVP, or you go polished concrete. Well, it's very expensive to do polished concrete, especially on a building like that, and it just doesn't work as well. White cabinets, and then the word luxury. Why we hate the word luxury. And at no point in any project will I ever have the word luxury associated with it, because it's not correct. Aladdin will be chic apartments. It will be curated, thoughtful design for people that have taste. And then the Holtman building will challenge the status quo of urban living. So
Cool,
no luxury. Hate that word.
Yeah, I hate that word too.
So overused.
All right, last question. Obviously, I know you're a little biased, but best rooftop in Kansas City. There aren't a lot to choose from right now, but what is your
I
favorite?
love the Mercury Room. The Mercury Room is great. They have unbelievable cocktails. The views are just awesome. It's really cool. Whenever I bring people to Kansas City, or people come here to visit, I always take them to the Mercury Room so they can see what the skyline looks like from that view, especially at night. It is awesome. The Aladdin bar will be pretty cool too when it's done in the Holtman as well. But that Mercury Room is awesome. They've nailed it on the head there.
Wow.
Prime Social is also a close second.
I do like.
I wish
Prime.
they had more outdoor space.
I do too. It's like that weird little
It's
pocket
like a
that
tiny
you can't even see anything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
it
wish
makes no
that.
sense.
What would that be? The east side. I wish that east side was all outdoor. That would be, because the views that way, looking back north, are awesome. And also south. Prime Social is also a good spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, we need more rooftop bars. So
Yeah, for sure.
a lot more.
Cool, man. Well, absolutely love what you're doing.
Thank you.
I think the thoughtful approach to development is much needed in the space and much needed here in Kansas City. So we appreciate what you're doing here in Kansas City, the work that you're doing. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where we can follow you and where to find you online?
Mulzer Development on LinkedIn, Instagram. Twitter is Casey Mulzer. I love my Twitter. That's kind of where all the social media stuff started, was on Twitter.
We talked about that the first time we met. Yeah.
Love Twitter.
Yeah, I'm so bad at Twitter. So
I love it. It's so fun. And there's a big group of like what they call retweet. And I mean, some of my best friends are on Twitter. Hell, my business partners I met on Twitter. So just
Cool.
It's wild. But yeah, follow me on there. And yeah, the Aladdin chugging along, Holtman, ready to go, and excited to keep building. So thank you for having me on. This was awesome.
Yeah.
We keep chugging along, and excited to find ways to work together.
Yeah, let's keep reshaping the way people perceive Kansas City, right?
Let's do it.
So cool,
Let's
man.
do it.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Godspeed.
Yep.
Appreciate it, brother.